All right, welcome to the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast for Friday, April 10th. I'm Chris Hodge. We have the one and only JR in a more colorful hat than he was in last week on the Zoom. JR, good to see you, as always.
I appreciate it, as always. And listen, the Islanders are,
Here we go. Here we go.
Forget about what they've done over the last couple of weeks has just been self-defecating. But they had a great game last night. They came out 40 shots on net. It was like 23-3 in shots on goal in the first period. They really
Toronto.
They're hungry. I don't care who they played. But listen, 2 points is 2 points in the NHL, buddy. That's all that matters. The standings, right?
I know. When the Islanders were on when they were on a 4-game losing streak last week, you wore a black hat. They win a game last night. You wear the colorful hat.
I had to bring some color into it. We got to get out of the black and white and get into some color. You always make the comment too. I walk in, you're like, "Who wears a black hat?" I'm like, "What's wrong with a black hat?"
No, a black hat in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you have iconic colors, and I'm not an Islander fan, but the Islanders do have an iconic logo, iconic colors, and you just ruin it by taking all the colors out of it. It doesn't make any sense.
Good looking hat. That's all that matters. It
By the way,
island on it, and that's what matters. All right, let's
do a podcast. Just for all the people that are in relationships out there, just JR, man, how many times a day or a week does your wife look at you and go, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I actually, we spoke about this a minute ago. I feel like I'm the one that's always looking over and saying, "What are you talking about?" And it actually is, "What the fuck are you talking about?" half the time. But I mean, listen, I'm with my wife now 30 years. You see me look over, she's actually over.
You're trying to look over your shoulder. I hope she's not listening. No, there was something that's going viral. I showed you the video earlier today.
Oh, that's a great video.
Yeah, and you know what? To me, it's a healthy relationship. I don't know if the people are married or it's boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't know. But if you check out the people at the Nets Pacers game last night, there's a man clearly talking
to. They had the nice garb on. They had the Pacers garb on. And he's just sitting there, and he's like trying to make a case. You can see him like making his case, but he just turns and says, "You can read the lips." What the fuck are you talking about?
and his look was like, all right. And I'm just, I sent this to my wife this morning, and my wife is just like, that's us anytime on camera. Like, if we were out to eat dinner and someone just picked up their phone and secretly videoed us, at some point through that video, I'm going to look at you and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Why are you making a scene?
Like, just something. But I thought,
God, you're so loud. Why are you yelling?
Yeah, and I just thought, like, I watched that video, and I'm like, that's a healthy relationship right there. She's looking at me, she's like, "That's you. What the hell are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?" And he don't even like, oh, whatever. So if you haven't seen that video, all you got to do is Google Nets Pacers fan. That's it.
That's it.
And the Nets Pacers game last night was so bad that it got made for these two fans for this 15-second conversation.
So one of the interviews I did last Friday, they asked me, is there a sport that you no longer can be into, like that you just don't cover as much as you used to? And there's no doubt that that's the NBA for us, right? We are so big in college and pro football. College basketball is huge. Baseball's always been good. And now we've moved into hockey, right, which has been just phenomenal. Our record, the money we're making, it's been fantastic. But the NBA, where we used to do, I mean, if this was 10 years ago, you couldn't get me off of watching the NBA. I feel like this is the worst, commissioner in the history of sports. The product itself is so bad. I mean, look at how many games where you go look at scores, and I've never seen so many teams blown out by 20, 30 points, or lines that are up at, used to be back 20, 30 years ago, you saw a line of 14, 15. You get on the underdog just saying, hey, any given basketball team can win, right? That's not the case anymore. These lines are 17 and a half regularly. It's how are you going anywhere with that?
The lines are downright obnoxious. You're dealing with tanking.
Terrible.
The 10 teams for the playoffs, and you got the play-in tournament next week, but the 10 teams for the playoffs were basically set 3 weeks ago, where no one can catch them. I mean, I think in the East, the 10th place team is up 10 games. I think in the West, The 10th place team is up 11 games. Like, they added 2 extra spots for you, and you're still down 11 games out of missing
11 games. And you got teams tanking at the
all,
same
all
time.
over the place. And then I forget what game it was. It might have been the Golden State game a couple nights ago where a team down 1 fouled with 3 minutes to go just for the hell of it and then claimed it was a mistake. Like, this shit going on in the NBA, also from a gambling standpoint, which is why you and I really don't do it anymore, is these teams don't have to announce who's playing until like 6:30.
I mean, what are we doing with that? How are you going to have enough time to make a decision on lineups if you're not getting it until 30 minutes before they tip off?
And JR, for the life of me, I can't understand this, right? Because take baseball, for example. You know who the starting pitcher is at 6 o'clock in the morning. In almost every single game, 99% of the games. I mean, if you were going to gamble on baseball and you didn't know who the hell the starting pitcher was up until a half hour before game time, you would never bet baseball, ever.
That's right. And I remember, listen, before all these legal sports books came out, it used to be that you would bet a baseball game by either putting it in listed or action. Okay, so you would call in when this was back in the day when you actually called the bookie, right? And you say, all right, give me the New York Yankees. They give you the line -135. All right, Weaver listed. That means if Weaver doesn't pitch, I can go to bed and not worry about did Weaver start or not. Because if Weaver doesn't start,
no action.
There's no action.
Yeah.
Or if you say action, because if you're using an underdog, well, then you want to put it in action. Because normally if there's a pitching change, it's going to be to your favor. Most cases. So you put it in action, right? And now you know, no matter who pitches, final score is all that matters. So,
and you made a great point with your pivot throughout the course of the year. And it was fantastic what you said, because, we're always trying to evolve from a gambling standpoint. So if you look at the 4 major sports, right? You look at football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. For years and years, even this year as well, hockey was the least bet on sport, right?
No doubt.
And we watch so many football games together, so many basketball games together, and it's not the performance of the athletes or the teams, it's the referees. And in hockey, the referees impact that sport the least. Unless they call 9 penalties on one team, which they're not going to do. Right? You'll get 4 power plays to 2. That national title game that was just played the other night between Michigan and UConn. Now, Michigan was the better basketball team. But they went to the free throw line about 20 more times.
It was crazy. I mean, and this is where we talk about that. It's to me, hockey being the purest sport, meaning I can look at matchups, lineups, and lines against line, and goalie versus goalie, and offensive teams versus defensive teams, and get such a better idea of outcome, which is why I believe that we've had such an incredibly good record. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are days or even weeks where just shit don't go your way. That's part of the ups and downs and ebbs and flows, when variance, right, in sports betting. And if you ain't got the heart for that, you ain't got the gut for that, you shouldn't be betting sports. But when you've got so much more ups than downs, like I talked to one of my biggest clients the other day, and granted, we just did not have as great of a college football season as we would have liked to, right? We've talked about that on the show. And that was at the beginning of the season. The NIL kind of nipped us, and I'll give you a ton of credit, man. You really pivoted fast. You figured it out in about 5-6 weeks. That a lot of benching going on, a lot of kids that were getting the money were no longer playing through the duration of the game, and that was getting a lot of back doors open, right? So you had to start looking a little more at underdogs than favorites. There was a lot going on there, and you did a great job. You pointed it out to me. I was like, wow, that's just a great point. I thought we were just getting bad beat after bad beat.
No, but lack of depth is happening right now in college football and college basketball like you've never seen before, right?
Correct.
We just talked about the NBA, but these officials, especially now gambling is at the forefront, right?
Makes you scratch your head.
Absolutely. And we watched it all year long. And listen, I don't know what I did in a past life, and I shouldn't really say that. I have a blessed life. But I think because I have a blessed life in some areas, right? Like the gods, they just have to mock me in others. Like they have to. You just can't give one guy some good things here and not take it away in another area.
I don't believe that, man. The universe just loves me.
Oh, where's the freaking? I'm glad you're not in this studio right now. You can stay over there. You're on a sunny day. You might get a lightning bolt that hits you. Now I'm dealing with officials, man. Jesus. It happened to me
I've
again
never
last
seen
week.
you so depressed. I really never saw
No,
you so depressed.
what
Not
happened.
even depressed, angry, depressed.
So take you through. We already had the conversation in my first game. One refs completely screwed the game up. Second game, we actually get a really good crew, but it's like a team, right? Like if you have one nitwit, right, on this crew, he fucks everything up.
And only as strong as your weakest link, right?
And I got this guy on my sidelines. The guy's name is Donnie, and he's a great official. And Donnie knows he's a great official. He's probably the best official that I've ever been around with, right? I got him on my sideline. We complete a pass down to the 10-yard line. Now it's college rules, so it's not NFL rules. So our guy slides and he catches the ball, but he's down. He gets up, he runs into the end zone for a touchdown. They rule it a touchdown. Now, that's just referees that got to get together and realize they're playing college rules, right? So no problem. So we know that call's coming back, right? Never in our mind do we think this call is going to be incomplete because it's a complete catch. It's as easy as a catch it could be. They come back incomplete. The back judge is the guy who calls the incomplete. I look at Donnie. I'm like, you're the best official on the field. You had it as a catch. How the hell do you get overturned by that guy? Because he's the one who overturned it. Now, JR, here's what kills you. Here's what kills you about these officials. Here's how bad they are. Get the back judge over to me. I go, you were behind the play, right? Yes. My receiver had his back to you and was blocking the ball from your view, right? The guy goes, yes. I go, well, how the fuck did you see the ball to make it an incomplete pass? He walks away from me.
Doesn't say a word.
Can't give me an explanation because he punted the fucking call, man. He fucked it up. And it was a major call in the game. And now I got the head official, who's a good guy too. He's a very good official. So now as he's coming over to talk to me, I feel my phone going off. My wife is home.
Well, you got to also add that you said something to the back judge as he was walking away.
I called him a fucking clown. As he was walking away, I called him a fucking clown. So I think he told on me.
One of the best parts of the story.
Yeah, I forgot. That's good. Yeah, as he's walking, I'm like, you're a fucking clown. Get the head official over to me, and my phone is going off like crazy. Now, usually I would never look at my phone during a game. My wife is home watching the game on TV, and she's texting me, just sort of replay. It's an absolute catch. Now, my wife is telling me that. And I was just like, I'm going into this head official, and he felt so bad. The story's a little bit more, could get a little bit more long-winded, but he felt so bad. The officials came up to me and talked to me after the game. Now, if you coach a football team, they don't do that. They run off the field immediately.
Go make your complaints to the head officials, right?
Yeah, the head official and the guy Donnie. Again, these two guys are very, very, very good officials. They came after me. They come up to me after the game and they're like, "Hey man, send it into the league." I go, "No problem. I'm gonna send it into the league." What the fuck does that do for me now? We just lost. We were down 3-0. We're going in. We're gonna score a touchdown and take the lead. And so it's just like
And you're not even saying that wins the game for you, but it definitely changes momentum. No doubt, it changes momentum.
And it just these refs. See, it's not just that they're wrong. They're human. JR, you and I pick games. We're wrong sometimes. Sure. We make a mistake. We're human beings, right? It's the conviction with what they're wrong with. They're so convinced that they got it right, and they argue you, and they fuck it up. And that's if the guy.
Is there maybe a chance the guy knew he was wrong, and he already overturned it, so you can't overturn the overturn, right? You look like a complete ass. So maybe he was just like, didn't want to admit to you, hey, I was wrong. You're right. He just walked away from you. That's what I think happened. Incompetence at its highest level.
Absolutely. And the official on my sideline, I'm on a first name basis with the guy. Again, the guy's a great official. I go, Donnie, you're the best official out here. How does the clown overturn you? I don't get it. Why do we lose to the clown? I don't get that. And he's just like, look, it's his call. It was in his vicinity. Nothing we could do. Right. Take it up the ass once again.
His best was a maximum of inefficiency.
Yeah, and then I get told I can't call a referee a fucking clown.
Yeah, and I mean, you're a head coach of a team. I don't care, semi-pro, pro. You can't. Come on, man.
Really?
You could say, "Are you a clown?" But
a fucking clown? Yes,
Yeah.
and I stand by what I said, because if I ask you something and you don't have the guts to just stay in front of me and give me the explanation, you walk away from me, you show your back to me, you're a fucking
Because he
clown.
knows he's wrong.
Right, but you're still a fucking clown. And then, they come up to me and I get, they got the headsets on, the officials, and guys like, Chris, you can't call an official a clown. He did a good job not throwing a flag on you. I was like, would he preferred fucking idiot? Like, which one? Let me know. Which way could I go?
You're a dum-dum.
Oh man, it's just I don't understand. So I say all that to say this, JR, right? I don't make no money coaching this damn team. I'm not a multi-million-dollar coach.
When you told me how much you were getting paid, I laughed.
Right. I'm not a multi-million-dollar coach whose job is basically on the line each and every single week, and you are at the mercy of idiots. Like, that's the frustrating thing. Like, you have a game that they blow a call.
Thank God you're not coaching basketball. Oh, my God.
Dude, I'll tell you the truth, and I know a lot about football, and I am a good football coach. I don't think I could get through half a season in the NFL as a head coach. They would either fine me, suspend me, fucking tar and feather me from in the middle.
They might have put you in prison because you'd hit an official on the field.
Man, I don't know. Yo, these head coaches, they
The
are
patience level.
Oh
they
my
have.
God.
But they're also, think about the locker room they got to deal with, the patience that they have to have these days with these fucking pansy asses that are in these locker rooms, where everything you say is under a microscope. Everything you do is on camera. So they probably say very little at best.
I mean, you still got to motivate, though. But the thing for me is your team is working hard each and every day of the week. I don't owe the officials. I don't owe the other team. I owe my team. So I got to fight these nitwits, right, when they make a stupid call. And I just don't know how they do it because, you and I, like we said, we've watched college football and NFL, man, ad nauseum this year. And the bad calls that we've seen. And then you got like a guy like
Worst I've ever seen it. You would think it would be worse 30 years ago when I got into the business.
So much worse now.
Oh, you know what's funny? You go back and you watch clips of like the old football shows on Saturday morning and whatnot that they would have, right? Just the intro, every single part of it is a penalty today.
Yeah.
Every single part of the sports machine back in the day, the hard hit, all penalties that would get you fined and suspended, all have. It's insane how pussified the league has got. It's incredible.
But just from a standpoint of life, like, you really can't criticize, and people can't take criticism and constructive criticism. Like, if someone comes up to me and says, hey man, I saw this, why'd you call this play? Hey, okay, what'd you see there? And then you go back, look at it on film, and could I have made an adjustment? Could I have called a different play? You get a receiver who drops a ball and be like, hey man, just make sure you're looking in, keep your hands together, look it in, and they give you a dirty look.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Why are you talking down to me?
But I got to be honest, my team, man, they're not like that at all. My team, they're a bunch of grown men, very respectful guys, and they do a great job. I'm more or less just talking about the officials, where you have this job that you're trying to do at the best level you could do it at, and they constantly fuck calls up. Now, there are no point spreads on the games that I coach, right?
Right.
Now you got leagues that are in business with the sports books. Now, every bad call, you got people saying, check their check that account. That's what I'm about to say it. Check their sportsbook account.
Oh, look, that foul had the game go over, but it's a 22-point game, so there was no reason to foul. Did any big money come in on the over on that game? Go back to I mean, it's insane. And you're just not seeing it as often as it's happening. Like back in the day, I believe that the Las Vegas Gaming Commission, because it was so limited as to the action that was coming in and out, and they were the only ones responsible for watching it, it was a pretty good watchful eye, man. They caught the scams, even though the NCAA, I mean, left and right would just cover shit up. It was insane.
Sure.
But still, I feel like there was a lot more exposed than what we're seeing today. Like the shit that's gone down in the NBA, as insane as it is, I think that is nothing more than a mere pinch of what's really going on.
Yeah, and look, this is just the sad part of life, right? It's the elites.
And you can't handicap that.
Right. Well, the elites can do whatever they want, right, in life.
Well, that's been,
Yeah, they can do whatever they want and get away with it. And it's like right now, these leagues can do whatever they want and get away with it.
I wish my last name was Vanderbilt, man.
It's just crazy what we're watching. And it's just another thing. There's always, in our business, JR, there's always things that we have to look at, study, and get by. And then just, 2 years later.
Everything gets a mathematical value, right?
Everything.
Every category. That's why when people ask me, well, what do you look at most? Well, there is no most, right? There is no one thing that stands out. Of course, money flow, matchups, injuries, starters. I mean, everything matters, right? All the way down to looking at, making your own point spreads. That's something we did for a really long time. We look for differentials in the point spreads because of the different equation that we might be using than versus what the odds maker's doing, right? Now everything seems to be free flowing. They're all looking at the same stuff. They're all looking at things that we really, I don't think, consider as much as what they do. We look at it, we have to, but that's the reason why we're so successful is we're finding things that I think are standalones that they don't even pay attention to.
And you got to find value too. Like, you were great for so long here in the NHL. You had a fantastic run that was insane. You gave out a free pick winner last Friday, but you did it for Saturday. It was the under, I believe, in the Minnesota game. I forget who they were playing. I came on and we looked for value. I said, hey, look, whoever wins the Michigan-Arizona game in the Final Four is probably going to be the national title winner. They're going to be a big favorite on Monday, which we predicted accurately, which wasn't, hard to do. We just, punch the numbers and it. So instead of, betting Michigan twice, we just bet Michigan 500 to win, on plus 165. You can bet 500, you can bet 5,000, you can bet whatever in between. So we try to find value in it and that. And, then what was great for us on Monday night is you had Michigan to win the national title. Well, guess what? You had UConn open up a plus 7.5, come down to plus 6.5. Now you got a middle.
That's it.
And the middle hit. So those are certain things that you could do with sports wagering where, JR, because we say this on Sports Investors Daily, like everything is stacked against the gambler. Everything.
It truly is.
Now the sports books, remember when you wanted to buy a half point or a point? Minus 120, minus 125? Doesn't even exist anymore.
I just got done having this conversation with a new client last night. It's so funny you bring that up. I'm like, I said the difference today, because what it was 15 years ago, there was so much competition. There was thousands of sports books trying to get your business that they would all try to offer you a better deal on the juice. Now, when you go to buy a point or even a half a point, back in the day, it cost you 10 cents. Right. So it would take the line from minus 110 to minus 120. If it was football and you're trying to buy it on and off of 7 or 3, they might charge you an extra 15 cents. Right. And then all of a sudden it went to 25 cents. Now you can't buy a half a point. You got to buy a full point, and they're charging you a minimum of 35 to 40 cents for that one point.
They can do whatever they want.
It makes it not worth it at that point. Either you get off the game or you go with the side that you think is bringing in the true value. You can't buy the number anymore. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of things through the years. You've been in the business longer than I have. We always try to put the odds in our favor at the best possible price, right? You try to minimize risk. Nothing different than we say on Sports Investors Daily every Saturday throughout the year. Minimize the risk. Try to maximize the profit. Now they've made it tough to minimize the risk, and they've made it tough to maximize the profit so now you got to find the whole other way, which is what we work on. This is what we do day in and day out. We got to find another way.
What we do for our biggest players is now having them cash out.
Sure.
Right? Especially in basketball games where there's these huge peaks and valleys throughout the game where you can get multiple bets in if you really know what you're doing. Not that we're, soliciting that, but we've figured out when you get to a certain point in a basketball game or even football games for that matter, buy out. If you got 60, 70% equity, it's just not worth it to risk the entirety of your bet to pick up 30% more equity.
Absolutely.
Get out of the bet. And then you can go and do something else with the profit, right? Now that great. Also, you on the downside, you have to get out of bets too. You can't just do it when you're going up. Otherwise, now you're limiting potential and maximizing loss. So it's got to be both ways. So if a game starts going against you and you have a good enough value where you're only losing 30% of your bet and things are just not looking the way they should, get out of the bet.
So it's funny. It's funny how some sports gamblers think. We had a guy, I think it was a couple weeks ago during the tournament, where we had him buy out for like 63%. I think the guy had a $10,000 bet and he made like $6,300. Well, the team we gave him actually ended up winning and covering, right? So the guy was like, I lost $3,700. Like, no, you didn't. You won 6,300. You guys are looking at this your main goal is to make money. That is your main goal.
So if that team turns around and loses, does that mean we made you 12-4? You got to double the number, right? I mean, come on. And that's just not the mentality of the sports bettor. We know that. I've been dealing with them forever. I love my clients. They understand it because I think I explained it good when we start off. And even when things don't go great, they're just so patient. They know where it's going. They stay patient. And if you stay the course on anything, especially with the ebbs and flows of sports betting, you can really kill it. You can make a lot of money. You gotta know when to strike. You gotta understand and know a good strategy to pull back when things don't go great. But when they're good, and they're usually much better than they're not, you got to understand and know how to utilize progression and press. And that's what we do better than anybody, using house money against them to really maximize those profits. And that's what matters.
Yeah, we say it all the time. I mean, I say it. I mean, this is a hard way to make an easy living, right? It really is, right?
It
so,
is.
Anyone out there who listens to our radio show or sees this podcast and think that this is a get-rich-quick scheme, like, forget about it. Don't even be involved. Like, it's not. You're going to lose some units. You're going to win some units. Look at, April.
But how many times have we turned 10,000 into 150K in 2 or 3 months? It's
absolutely.
Time and time again, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes that 10K goes down to 6,000 before it goes back up to 15 or 30,000.
Correct.
So, and that's what I mean when I say the peaks and the valleys and the ebbs and the flows of the business.
Well, you said it, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes ago. You said if you would have the stomach for it or the heart for it, whatever terminology you use, get the hell out, man. Like, me, I always said, like, I hate a salary cap in sports. Like, I hate it. I don't like it, right? Because I don't want, in my life, your life as well, you don't want to be capped on what you can make, right? You want to make, if you're a salesman and you're responsible for bringing in 10 million, right? And whatever your percentage is, I don't care. It's irrelevant, right? But let's say you're getting paid 20%, right? And you're responsible for bringing in 10 million, and then your boss comes to you and was like, well, I'm going to cap what you make. So you made your 2 million, but the next 3 or 4 million you bring in, you don't get paid on. Why would you try to bring money in?
Well, I wouldn't show up to work.
Right. It's a waste of time.
I mean,
right.
I made my 2 million, and now you tell me I'm working for free. No, I'm good.
It's a waste of time.
I'm good.
So, like, you have a contract. Some players outperform their contract. Some players underperform their contract. Right?
Which is most of the time.
Well, fine. But for me, I don't want to be capped on anything, right? I don't want to be capped. And it's just amazing that you have certain leagues that are trying to do this in our industry. The reason why I love it, we're not capped. I can either win as much or lose as much.
Cap. I think the salary cap in the NFL has kept it where
I hate it.
But we've had more parity in the NFL than any other league without a real cap.
Okay, like, I'm going to tell you right now.
Baseball doesn't have a real cap.
You know how I always say I'm in the minority?
The Dodgers and the Yankees are going to do nothing but win. Okay?
But that's not even really true. That's not true.
They buy teams, man. It's not – in the NFL, you got to stay within the parameters of a certain budget in order to be able to get there. And all teams get that same budget. That, to me, makes a much better product for us, the consumer. You're right. For the player, it sucks. Sucks balls. But it's not like I'm going to feel bad for guys that are making $15 million a year.
I have no argument to that, right? We're not going to feel bad for millionaires and who are playing a sport that they love and they're extremely talented at. I'm not going to debate that. I'm going to be in a minority with this one, as I generally am, right? And I have no problem with it. I hate parody. I don't like it, right? I don't like parody.
Is there anything we ever agree on? Yeah, Holy shit! How do you not like parody in sports?
Hate it.
I love the idea that a team that sucks the next year can go deep in the playoffs, even make a run. I mean, look at Seattle, man, what they did.
So I'm going to bring up the OKC Thunder. I'm going to bring them up. All right, small market team, right? OKC is a small market team.
Genius general manager.
Presti is probably the best out there. They have a couple great trades where, Shea, everyone forgets, was involved with the Paul George trade. Everyone forgets that. So here's a team that managed their finances, managed their draft capital, and their scouting. They did it better than anyone. And now they're going to be around forever. But now, unfortunately, because there's a salary cap, now I know you got bird rights in the NBA and all this nonsense, you might not be able to keep this team that you built, right? because you can only pay them so much.
Correct.
I hate that. I would love to see OKC become a dynasty. I would love to see them win 4 or the next 5 times. I would really love that, right? And then you get the root
I
for.
hate that in sports.
Well, then be better, right? So be better. Manage your team better. Like Utah. Utah is never gonna. They're done. Because they have bad management, bad coaching, bad everything.
That's why I think what Kansas City has done, or what Tom Brady did through his career, is so magnificent and not something that you're going to see on a regular basis. You're not going to have constant dynasties. Whereas in basketball, if there was no salary cap, or in baseball, you're going to have that because there's a cap. But then they say, well, you can go over the cap if you give money to all the smaller franchises through luxury tax, which, of course, the Dodgers and the Yankees want to get rid of, but that's what they do. They'll spend 5 times more than what the Royals spend just so that they can crush them and every bit of their competition. To me, that's unfair. I don't think one team, I mean, if you're a great player, are you going to go play, in Minnesota, or are you going to go play in LA? It's just,
well,
and if there's no cap, they can have all the best players in one spot. So I like it. I get it.
No, you listen, you have to have some sort of system, right? You can't just say you can go spend whatever. Like, I don't mind the luxury tax system. We said this a couple months ago. The problem with the luxury tax system, especially in baseball, is these teams get the money kicked back to them, and then they don't put the money back into the team.
True.
That's why they suck every year. They're just taking of what the rich do, and they're just putting it in their pocket. But if you remember back to when the Yankees were dominant back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they had won 3 World Series in a row, going for their 4th. Arizona was the better baseball team that year. And when Arizona knocked them off, it was like, wow, Goliath just got beat. Just like if the Dodgers get beat this year, that's going to be a story, right? But when you just have one team, like here, case in point, like the NBA might have a dynasty on their hands right now with OKC. They did everything in their power to prevent it. And right now, the NBA is at its lowest that it's ever been. Ever been. What was the NBA formed on, you? And I say this all the time, you fucking morons. It was formed on dynasties. You had the Celtics. Then you got to the Lakers into the 80s, the Lakers and the Celtics in the 80s. Then you got to the 90s when you had the Bulls. Then you got to the 2000s when the Lakers and Spurs won 5, and everything was good.
Was competitive. Like they were competitive. There were teams that were
still dynasties.
Up with them. They were
still dynasties.
I felt like there was more competition. There's no one competing with Oklahoma City.
No, unless they suffer an injury. Maybe San Antonio gives them a series in the Western Conference Finals if both teams make it that far, and they probably should.
5 or 6 instead of 4 straight.
Listen, no one's should beat OKC short of an injury this year, and then they're set up with draft capital for next year. They got guys under contract, so they did it the right way. So the whole point of this end around we just did is if OKC somehow gets penalized for running things the right way, I just have a problem with that. I don't like that.
I loved your idea, by the way. You mentioned it a few weeks ago on what they should do in the NBA if they want to fix teams tanking.
Yeah, it's so easy.
That was.
It's so easy. Just take the team that missed the playoffs. The first team that missed the playoffs. Listen, it's a ping pong ball system in the NBA. So just give the team that missed the playoffs, the first team, the most ping pong balls, and just work down. It doesn't guarantee that they're going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick. We've seen it happen numerous times where they haven't been, but you just give them that, and you just work in reverse. I mean, you got teams in the NBA right now. You're charging full price, right? And the fans are seeing a shit product, and no one seems to care. No one seems to care. I mean, you mentioned it, 20 minutes ago. Last night I think there was a 22, 23 point spread. Like, that's unreal. Insane.
I've never seen that in the NBA. 20 plus points. Are you shitting me?
You had the Nets Pacers game last night. The 5 that the Nets started, if you combined all 5 of them, they averaged 35 points a game. That's who started for the Brooklyn Nets last night. Who the fuck is paying money to go see that?
Nobody.
Right.
Yeah, nobody. They probably tell everyone in the stands, everyone come down so it looks like at least there's a few people in the stands. It's insane.
You got any free picks on deck for? I know there's no NHL tonight. You like anything for tomorrow?
Nothing tonight, but there's a huge board tomorrow. Great board last night. I'm going to give just the easiest game on the board for tomorrow. Edmonton goes over in just about every matchup. We've talked about this 25, 26 games over 500. As far as overs versus unders, they're on the road taking on the Kings. Both teams are rested for at least a day. It's just going to be a score fest. Figure it to, bare minimum 5-2, which just gets you there. But I'm looking 6-3, 7-3. This is going way over. 6.5 is the number. But don't be afraid. Lay the lumber.
That's for Saturday. There's obviously no NHL tonight. Tomorrow, there is no NBA. They finished their season on Sunday with every team playing, or the regular season anyway. Tonight, bunch of games. But again, by the time you see this podcast, not going to give you anything for tonight because you might miss it. JR just gave you the over in the Edmonton game for Saturday. I know JR will be back in studio next week. We also have some former NFL players that we're looking to line up to come and give us some information on the upcoming NFL draft, which
That's
is
awesome.
yeah, we'll have that, and a couple other people we're working on. We think the listeners out there and the viewers will love. So JR, go close this out.
Guys, be safe, have fun, and let's do what we always do. Let's go out there and make some money.
Have a great weekend, everyone.